He says he loves you. But somehow, you cry more than you smile. Every argument becomes your fault. Every pain gets ignored. And every time you try to leave, he suddenly becomes soft again. For a few days, he changes. He gives attention. Says sorry. Acts like the perfect man. And then, slowly, the same cycle starts again. The cold behavior. The disrespect. The emotional games. The silent treatment. The lies. The manipulation. And the worst part? You still miss him. You still wait for his message. You still hope one day he'll become the man he pretended to be in the beginning. But today, we're going to talk about the dark psychology behind toxic relationships, and why some people hurt the person they claim to love. Because sometimes, love is not the problem. Attachment is. Most toxic relationships don't start with pain. They start with intensity. He texts all day. He says things like, "I've never felt this way before. You're different. I can't lose you." And for the first time in a long time, you feel chosen. Seen. Important. He gives attention like an obsession. You become emotionally attached very fast. But slowly, things begin to change. At first, it's small. He gets angry over tiny things. He becomes possessive. He makes jokes that secretly hurt you. Then one day, he says something so painful, you sit alone wondering. Did he really mean that? But instead of leaving, you try harder. Because your mind keeps remembering the good version of him. The version from the beginning. And this is where many people get trapped. They fall in love with potential, while suffering in reality. A toxic boyfriend often doesn't want love. He wants emotional control. There's a difference. A healthy man fears losing you because he values you. A toxic man fears losing control over you. That's why he hurts you, but doesn't fully let you go. He wants access to your emotions. Your attention. Your loyalty. Your tears. Your forgiveness. Some toxic men become addicted to feeling emotionally powerful. And the easiest way to feel powerful is controlling someone who loves them deeply. So what do? They isolate you slowly. At first, it looks like care. Why do you need those friends? Why are you talking to him? You've changed after meeting them. Then slowly, every conversation becomes a problem. If you talk to another boy for 2 minutes, he turns it into an affair inside his mind. Even innocent things become accusations. A reply. A laugh. A follow request. A phone call. Suddenly you're defending yourself for things you never even did. And when he gets angry, he doesn't fight fairly. He uses abusive language. He insults you. Sometimes even brings your parents into arguments just to humiliate you emotionally. Not because they did anything wrong. But because toxic people know exactly where words hurt the most. And after every fight, you become quieter. You stop explaining yourself. You stop sharing things. You stop talking freely. Slowly, he starts controlling your world. He doesn't want you going out with friends. He gets irritated if you dress nicely. He questions every outing. Every call. Every plan. And after some time, you stop asking. Not because you agree with him. But because you're mentally exhausted. The girl who once loved getting ready, now doesn't even feel excited to look in the mirror. The girl who once enjoyed going outside, now prefers staying alone in her room. You stop enjoying life slowly. Not in one day. But piece by piece. And while your world becomes smaller, his life continues normally. He goes out with friends. Enjoys dinners. Laughs freely. Posts stories. Lives happily outside. While you sit there overthinking his behavior, crying over the disrespect he calls love. And this is the painful reality of many toxic relationships. One person slowly loses themselves, while the other keeps taking emotional control. This inconsistency creates emotional addiction. One day he's caring. Next day he's cold. One day he calls you his future wife. Next day he disappears for hours. Your brain keeps chasing the good moments again and again. It's similar to gambling. Sometimes you win affection. Sometimes you lose it. And because the reward is unpredictable, you become more emotionally attached. That's why toxic relationships feel impossible to leave. Not because the love is deep, but because the emotional confusion is deep. The dangerous thing about toxic relationships is, they destroy your self-worth slowly. Not all at once. Slowly. You stop speaking freely. You overthink every message. You become anxious when he sounds cold. You start blaming yourself for his behavior. Maybe I talk too much. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I'm difficult to love. And little by little, you stop recognizing yourself. The girl who once laughed freely, now cries quietly at night. The girl who once felt confident, now begs for basic respect. And sometimes the most painful part is this. You know he's hurting you. But you still want him to love you properly. Because humans naturally want closure from the person who wounded them. You keep thinking, if he finally treats me right, maybe all this pain will make sense. But toxic people often survive on hope. They give just enough affection to stop you from leaving completely. Imagine this. You're excited to talk to him all day. But suddenly he becomes distant. Dry replies. Late messages. Cold tone. You ask, is everything okay? And instead of communicating maturely, he says, you're overthinking again. Now suddenly, you feel guilty for expressing emotions. Later that night, he posts online, talks normally to friends, but ignores your messages. You feel invisible. So eventually, you apologize first. Even though he hurt you. This is how emotional manipulation works. The toxic partner avoids accountability, while the loyal partner carries emotional burden. And after months of this, you become mentally exhausted. Not because of one big heartbreak, but because of thousands of tiny emotional cuts. People often ask, if he's toxic, why doesn't she just leave? Because emotional attachment is complicated. Especially when someone has already invested love, time, loyalty, dreams, and memories. Also, many toxic relationships create trauma bonds. The pain and affection become mixed together. Your nervous system becomes addicted to emotional highs and lows. Calm relationships may even start feeling boring because chaos became normal. And sometimes, people stay because they fear loneliness more than disrespect. That's the sad truth many don't admit. A toxic relationship can make you feel emotionally dependent on the very person destroying your peace. Healing usually begins with one painful realization. He understands your pain. He just doesn't care enough to stop causing it. That realization changes everything. Because many toxic boyfriends are not confused. They know exactly what hurts you. They simply repeat it because they know you'll forgive them again. And forgiveness without boundaries teaches people that your pain has no consequences. Real love does not constantly damage your mental health. Real love does not make you afraid to express feelings. Real love should feel emotionally safe, not emotionally exhausting. If someone constantly hurts you, listen to patterns, not promises. Toxic people often apologize beautifully. But behavior reveals truth. Watch actions. Does he respect you when angry? Does he communicate maturely? Does he make you feel secure, or constantly anxious? And most importantly, who are you becoming in this relationship? Because sometimes the relationship is not destroying your heart first. It's destroying your identity. And healing starts when you stop chasing the version of him that only appeared temporarily. One day, you'll realize something powerful. You were not hard to love. You were simply giving genuine love to someone emotionally unhealthy. And the moment you stop begging toxic people for basic respect, your life starts changing. Because peace feels unfamiliar after chaos. But peace is what real love is supposed to feel like. If this video spoke to your experience, comment below. Peace over pain. And subscribe to Wayne Mind Shift Psychology for more deep psychological truths about love, attachment, toxic relationships, and human behavior.